Hello, my name is Michael Emerson. I work for ISAC in the Kankakee Community College District.
And hello, my name is Eric Bernal, and I also work for ISAC, and I work at the Southwestern Illinois College District.
We are going to be talking about being away from home for the first time, going off to college for the first time, which is a pretty important topic to talk about. So I am from the Kankakee area, but I went to Illinois State, so it was about an hour 45 to 2 hour drive for me.
And I'm originally from Fairview Heights, which is like the Metro East area, and I went to college at Washington University in St. Louis, which is about 25-ish, 30-minute drive from home.
Yeah, so we have a couple, we have different experiences, but we're excited to kind of share a little bit about being away from home for the first time and getting used to it um, and all that. So, well, first off, when I moved to ISU, my parents are really sad when they drop me off. So whether it be your parents, whoever's going to be dropping you off, they're probably going to be pretty upset and they're probably going to be crying. So my mom definitely had tears coming down her face as they were driving away. So just be prepared. I'm prepared for that because it's a pretty big deal for them and it's a pretty big deal for you too. So that's just something that you're going to have to be ready for. Because yeah, it's a big step in your life. So.
Yeah, even if you're not crying or your parents aren't crying, there may be some other students they're far, far, far away, so their parents will be crying. So it's just a very emotional day for a lot of
Yeah,
people.
very emotional, very, very emotional. But you'll get over it. You'll get used to it. For me, at first, it definitely was a little odd living on my own for the first time. I mean, it was just like a whole new world for me, whole new experience. Um, it took me a little while to like get a good routine going as far as like living on my own, especially like those first couple weeks. It was just like really, really odd feeling for me. And but that's something that is natural. That's a part of moving on to the stage in your life, and it's something that you'll probably get used to, or you definitely will get used to as you move along. But yeah, those beginning first couple weeks or so for me was uh, it was a little odd.
Yeah, and then for me, I was more, I would say, a mix of excited and stressed. So just for a little context, I'm a twin, so everywhere I go, there's always that one person that I definitely know is with me. And then when I was going away to college, I suddenly now I don't have another person there with me,
Mhm.
and so I was definitely stressed because normally she's like my fallback, but now it's just like my safety net's gone, so it's really me on my own. And yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people where I'm a creature of habit, really. Every time I go to a restaurant, I order the same thing, and I know because I know I like it, and it's just if I go somewhere new, sure I'll adventure out then. But when I go to Applebee's, I know I'm gonna order the same thing at Applebee's,
Yeah, every time,
every
every time.
time, no without fail. But yeah, I mean, so with the new place, it's a little, I don't know the menu, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Definitely a good comparison. Yeah, especially depending on if you're gonna have roommates or not too. That's like a whole new different experience in itself. Like for me, like I moved in with three people that I did not know. So like three complete strangers. So that's like really odd to get used to because now you're all sharing the space and you have to learn like your everybody's different habits and what they do. So yeah, getting especially yeah, like moving on your own, like by yourself is one thing. But yeah, when you add like roommates on top of it, especially like strangers, it's definitely something that you kind of have to get used to as well.
And I also had the same experience when I moved in. It was me and three other complete strangers. One was from like California, one was from Ohio, so even just different states. It's funny because we had a bunk bed, and I showed up late, so I was the top bunk. And
Dang.
so, yeah, figuring out each other's habits, um, just sharing a space with three strangers. You don't know how they live, so maybe they're a family of like five, and so they're used to sharing. Maybe they're an only kid, and so maybe they're a little trouble with sharing, or they like being in their space.
Hmm.
You tend to learn each other's habits pretty quickly. Like one of my roommates, he liked when he was working, he closes off and then we know like, oh, he's working. Like, don't turn on the TV. You know, nothing. This is work time. Because we learn that he's working, so we don't want to be rude and like blast the game or something. And yeah, that can be really stressful. I like to think I got lucky because all my roommates were really chill. They're super cool. I know people on the same floor as me though that vastly different experiences.
Yeah.
They conflicting personalities, and so I'm not gonna lie, that could happen. But you just have to try to learn to adjust.
Yeah.
Especially with this just being away from home for the first time, it's just all about adapting and learning how to adjust to your new environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got pretty lucky too, I would say. There's a couple things that my roommate said that I was kind of like about, but you kind of have to. Those are just sacrifices you have to make, unfortunately. Can't always get what you want, So.
Yeah, like I quickly learned one of my roommates has sleep apnea, so
there you go.
We have to sleep first,
Yeah.
Also learned one of my roommates is a night owl. And I'm a night owl, but my night owl ends at like 1 a.m. His night owl ended at like 4 a.m. And I had like 8 a.m. classes. And so we learned to compromise with each other.
Yeah.
He watched TV instead of on the TV, he watches it on his laptop with headphones. It's all of it just adjusting. And it'll take time. It's one of those things that you definitely, no matter how bad you want to rush it, you really can't rush it.
Yeah.
Because you just can't. It takes time to adjust how new people work.
Yep. Exactly. Something that I definitely wanted to touch on, whether you're moving a few hours away or only 20 minutes away, I think like the social aspect of college is really important. And I think especially being away from home from first time is a really good opportunity to, be social and start building friendships, with people. Like in general, just starting to building new relationships and friendships with people. So basically what I'm getting at with this is don't go home every single weekend, especially when you first move in. I know he wanted to talk about that as well, but it's really important that you're not going home every weekend, because your weekends are going to be a great time to be social, build friendships, and start creating relationships with the people around you, whether it be in your classes or wherever else. So
so kind of go back to Michael's point. He said like, whoever dropping him off was sad, tears were forming. Whenever my parents dropped me off, they were like, okay, well, see you next week. They expected me to come home every weekend.
And you're like, I don't know about that.
And I don't know if it's because, I felt a little guilty just, if I said no, or like, I don't want to come home. There was a little bit of guilt in that. So I would say my first 3 or 4 months, definitely first semester of freshman year, I had the tendency of going home every weekend. And I love my college experience. All it was awesome. But if there's one thing I would change, is that I wish I didn't go home every weekend, especially freshman year, because that's when, you build those connections and friendships that last all throughout college.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I would go, and then if Friday would come and they would tell me about, these plans or these hangouts, explore the city. And I'm like, I'll see you guys Sunday night, when I come back home.
Right.
And, I missed out on a lot. I made up for it because I quickly realized that maybe my parents are expecting me to come home a little too much for comfort. And the second semester, I made a deal with them that maybe I come home once a month instead of once a week.
There you go. That's
and good. They were fine. There was a little fight because they were, we missed you. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Not to be rude, but okay.
Yeah, it's like,
but they learned that, okay, well, this is the week, I come home like, the second weekend of the month, and they were fine with that. So I also had time to build those friendships.
Yeah.
And to build those connections that, and I ended up, afterwards, that next year, I roomed with my friends that I made freshman year just because someone I met at a party one weekend.
Right.
That I wouldn't have met if I kept going home every weekend.
Exactly. Yeah. Like we're not saying never go home, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Like it is important to go home every once in a while and reconnect with your family and stuff, but I just think if you're investing all this time and energy into like the college experience, I think it's really important to kind of utilize that to its fullest potential and, get the most out of it. And that means academically and socially.
Yeah.
So,
One of the things I would really want to highlight is that this is the time you should really cherish your newfound independence.
yes.
Find new things that you like, new people that you like.
Hmm.
Because for the most part, for a lot of people, you went to school, elementary school, middle school, high school, with generally the same group of people. And so when you go to college, you'll meet people with new experiences, maybe new cities, new
Yep.
states that you don't know anything about. And, it's just try new things, like in my freshman year, I learned that I like playing the piano, kind of beginner lessons. I'm not a pro or anything. And I like piano and I don't like anthropology. And,
Yeah.
And that's just those things I wouldn't have known unless I just tried new things at college. That's kind of what college is for, just trying new things.
Yep. Exactly. I definitely agree with that. And also like the independence, like we talked about, and the self-advocacy piece is huge when you're moving away from the first time. And like this is also a great opportunity for you to build responsibility, because you're going to be responsible for a lot of things that you probably weren't before. um, it depends on the household. This is like household by household, but like if you were living at home, maybe you weren't doing, some of the cleaning or some of the laundry. But obviously when you're living on your own for the first time, like that's all on you. So it's really important to keep up with stuff like that, like your household chores and cleaning and all that. Like it's really important to keep your space and your environment clean and organize and all of that. And you're going to learn your routines and stuff, but because it honestly, it is easy to like turn into a slob when you move away for the first time, because you realize that like you don't have your family doing these things for you, so you kind of have to start like forcing yourself to do that stuff,
which means it's time to learn how to use a dishwasher, maybe time to learn how to do your laundry.
Yep.
Time to find out what a broom does, how to use it.
Yep.
Yeah, because a lot of that stuff, I mean, I'll even admit I was kind of guilty of that. We went out, because our rooms had carpet and nobody brought a vacuum. And then
there you go. See,
okay, now we know someone needs just a little handheld vacuum, because our floor was absolutely filthy for a while.
Yeah. Yes, it's really, really easy to get behind on that stuff, and it can have effect on you mentally and physically, and it's just really important to maintain that, kind of clean, healthy lifestyle. Because it's really gonna help you with adjusting too. Because if you kind of start turning into a slob, per se, then it's gonna make you struggle even more if you already are struggling. So
yeah, no, it's definitely, especially with all these classes that, may be kind of a jump in difficulty from how you felt in high school. You want to be able to keep an organized space.
Yep.
So that way, you know where everything is, you turn in assignments on time. Because, it starts off with, maybe not buying a vacuum. And then it's, maybe we forget, take out the trash.
Yep.
And then it just builds up until the point where, it just kind of develops a new lifestyle that's just not good for you physically or mentally. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to focus too much on like the negatives of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it sounds like we're being negative,
I
but we're honestly not trying to be. We just want to give like a realistic perspective, because like there is a lot of pros and there is a lot of cons too. So you kind of have to like take the good with the bad, as you're making this transition into this like different chapter of your life.
If I maybe transition to maybe a little bit more of a happier thing about it, is maybe find a way to make the space familiar for yourself.
Yep, I was thinking that too.
So like, for example, like in middle school and high school, like I played soccer. And then when I went to college, I was one of those where, okay, I'm not quite good enough to make the team. So there's something just for me to just find people who like playing soccer maybe casually. And that's when I learned about intramural sports.
Yep.
And I joined intramural soccer league.
So did I.
And
it was awesome.
It was awesome. I loved it. I also took there was a physical education class I could take, and I took a soccer class.
Nice.
Where I learned also just like-minded people who like playing soccer. You'll find people you can relate to really fast that way.
Yeah.
And another thing is, maybe if it's not like that, maybe you find out, after a few classes, maybe you might see the same people in a few of these classes. Maybe that means, maybe you're interested in the same major, or maybe you just have similar interests.
Yep.
Like try to connect with them because you're obviously you're in the same places a lot, so you might as well learn their name.
Yep.
Figure out what they're like, see if you guys can vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being on a college campus is just so cool because there's just like so many things to do and like so many opportunities to find activities that you really enjoy and making friendships along the way. Like the friendships come natural when you're naturally doing these things all the time. So it can honestly be like such an enriching experience, like being on a college campus and like having the world as your oyster basically, and like finding out about all of these things that you can do. It honestly is such a great experience. And yeah, that like no matter the size of the school, smaller or bigger, you're going to find something that you enjoy. And like I said, the friendships will come naturally. So,
and I know maybe a new environment, maybe some people interpret that differently. Maybe new school, new place, new me. You want to totally, you're introverted in high school. You don't know, no one knows your story, so you can be extroverted now. Maybe the other way around. Whatever's good for your mental health. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, this just depends how you want to interpret a new space. Whether you want to stay the same. I promise, people really aren't that different. So you don't have to really drastically change yourself if you feel like you're in a new place.
yeah.
Just stay who you are, and people will still be drawn to that.
Yep.
Like people really aren't that different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just in general. Just stay true to yourself, and you'll find your crowd and you'll find your people. Don't feel like you need to change for certain crowds. Just stay true to yourself. That's going to be like the biggest thing. Going back to like that independence and self-advocacy. Yeah. Like a lot of that is just on you. So it's really important to stick with that. And it'll go a long, long way for sure.
Yeah. And then just one more thing I just want to touch on. I know, maybe I can't talk about this much because I only live 20 minutes from home, but I also realize I've seen how homesickness can affect different people.
Yep.
I had a person that lived down the hall from me that they lived in Vermont, and they went home every other weekend.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Maybe if they have the means, sure, but that's still kind of excessive. Like, it's not. You won't be as far from home as you think you are because there'll still be holidays. There'll be vacation days, not vacation days, but like what I mean, breaks.
Yep.
You'll also have the opportunity to go home. You just have to wait until then. And I'm not saying while you're at school, don't talk to your parents, don't talk to your friends from home.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's saying that. You can,
no.
take an evening out, FaceTime mom and dad, maybe your group chat from your high school friends, and you all went to different colleges. What I ended up doing was all of my friends went to different colleges, and around junior year of college or so, we realized that hey, maybe once a year we should all get together, just take a friend trip, and just catch up with each other. Because we knew each other in high school, and then I know some people that drastically changed since junior year, and it's just nice catching up with them. They're still the same person, but it's just they're different now that they're a college kid.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's just really important to stay connected. I think that'll really help with the homesickness. Yeah, I know we said don't go home every weekend, but also, phone calls are great. Texting is great. FaceTiming is great. Just any way, like when you're not going home, like it's really important to stay connected. Stay connected.
Stay connected.
Yeah, stay connected. It's really important with your family, with your friends. They'll enjoy it and you'll enjoy it too. So
this is really your time just to grow, to be a better version of yourself, and expand your horizons.
Yep.
As cheesy as that sounds, expand your horizons.
Yeah, it is cheesy, but it's true.
Cheesy, it's true.
It's very, very true.
High school me cannot believe what college me is like.
Yep.
And it's just
same.
I'm a new person. This is you grow as a person.
Yep. But yeah, I think that about covers
it, I think. Yeah. So
we appreciate you listening in. Hopefully some of you will be able to go back in and watch this. That's about it. I hope the information that we talked about was really helpful, and I hope that gives you a pretty good sense of what it's like being away from home for the first time.
Yeah, so thank you for watching whenever you decide to watch this.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.